Live from Arkansas's breaking news leader, Fox 16 News at 9 starts now.
New at 9, Hurricane Isaac is over land in southeast Louisiana with winds near 80 miles an hour.
And Mitt Romney officially becomes the GOP presidential nominee. We are following both of these big stories for you tonight. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Kevin Kelly.
I'm Donna Terrell. Isaac hit ground, and it hit the ground and running at 80 miles an hour with winds dumping several inches of rain.
Nicole Collins is in New Orleans and gives us a look at how the Big Easy is dealing with this storm.
Hurricane Isaac is here. Its biggest threat, massive flooding. Hurricane Isaac makes landfall with waves crashing into the shoreline after the storm traveled through the Gulf of Mexico. Isaac reaching hurricane status today, increasing in strength before reaching land. Residents along the coast being urged to leave for higher ground by President Obama and local authorities.
We continue to urge anyone living in low-lying areas to evacuate. Even if an order hasn't been issued for your area, even if it is not mandatory, we are saying now it is time to evacuate those low-lying areas.
But some deciding to stay as the storm hits land on the eve of Hurricane Katrina's 7th anniversary.
We have a generator, thank God. After Katrina, that was one of the things that we did. And so if it does, we do lose power, we have a generator to get us through the next couple of days.
Since Katrina, the Army Corps of Engineers reinforced the levee system that failed New Orleans in 2005. And the Red Cross is on the ground using lessons they learned from Katrina to prepare for Isaac.
We're not going to be sitting around here doing nothing. We're actually going to be planning what our response is going to be once the winds have passed over us.
New Orleans is expecting 6 to 12 feet of storm surge and anywhere between 6 and 24 inches of rainfall. In New Orleans, Nicole Collins, Fox News.
All right, let's bring it back home here. Let's get the very latest from Fox 16's chief meteorologist, Jeff Baskin.
Jeff, usually when a hurricane hits land, it loses some of its steam. Is that the case at this hour right now?
Well, Isaac did move over land briefly, but now it's back over water. So it's not over land right now, but it will move back over land later on tonight. Let's take a look at the position of Isaac as it's moving across. You see that little tip there? That's southeast Louisiana, just near the mouth of the Mississippi River. That was technically landfall. You can see the path of that right there. Now, this has been taking a very erratic path today. Notice it moving mostly towards the north and then northwest, a north jog, and now it's moving mostly towards the west. And really, if you look over the last few frames here, it really doesn't even look like it's moving very much at all right now. It's actually stalled a little bit offshore. And the reason why that's important is because if this doesn't move along the forecast track as indicated right now, that means there'll likely be changes in our forecast too. So these little changes are something we have to pay close attention to in determining what kind of impacts we are going to get out of this storm. Right now, Category 1 hurricane. Look at the wind gusts across southeast Louisiana. Right now, it's 67 miles per hour near the mouth of the river, 63 miles per hour close to the coast. Houma, Louisiana, 47 mile per hour wind gusts. And offshore, this is actually a rig offshore, 66 mile per hour gust. Earlier, this read 102 miles per hour. So some very strong winds just offshore with this storm. This is going to move near Grand Isle, Louisiana, just about right here very shortly over the next, say, a couple of hours once this starts to resume a west-northwest motion. Right now, winds 80 miles per hour. And again, the short-term motion almost stalled. But here's the forecast track from the Hurricane Center. And right now, it's not doing this short-term motion. So it's likely there'll have to be some sort of adjustment to the next forecast track that comes out at 10 o'clock. And the reason that gets important for us is because you change the forecast track, that changes where Isaac is going to move through Arkansas. Right now, the forecast from the Hurricane Center has it going almost right through central Arkansas, which would give us some heavy rainfall. But if it goes much farther west, which is indicated by some of the models that I'll show you coming up in just a few minutes, well, that could change our scenario quite a bit. Now, as for this evening, mostly clear skies out there, showers well to our southeast. They're not moving into Arkansas yet. So what it means tomorrow morning, no problems at the bus stop, that's for sure. 72 degrees, clear skies going into the noon hour. Lots of sunshine, although turning breezy. Temperatures in the upper 80s around lunchtime. Kevin and Donna?
All right, thanks.
Thank you very much. Well, depending on the track, Hurricane Isaac could bring some very much needed rain to central Arkansas.
But because of the drought conditions, it could also make for a really dangerous situation. Fox 16's Josh Rosenthal explains the potential problem that almost every homeowner could face.
Weather, trees, and people don't always mix, and with a drought already here in central Arkansas and potential severe weather from Hurricane Isaac on the way, doing this might not be a bad idea. The reason why starts with our lack of rain and what that does to our trees.
Dying. Look around. They're dying from the drought.
Dying trees mean weak trees. When you couple that with potential severe weather from Hurricane Isaac, falling branches might not be far behind.
It's pretty dangerous. I mean, what was it last year? We had 7 people killed by falling trees or branches. So it is something to really pay attention to.
Now, Dr. Tamara Walkingstick says that doesn't mean you need to get outside and start chopping down all of your trees. She does recommend, though, looking for dead trees and branches, especially ones over your home.
You know, is it worth the risk? It could or could not fall. But what's the potential damage there?
After all, if you don't do the chopping, Mother Nature might.
Weather will get to it, and pretty soon limbs will break off and start falling.
Here are 2 easy ways to tell if a tree in your yard is either dead or dying. Number 1, there are no leaves, or in this case, brown leaves. And number 2, go ahead and try to snap a twig. If it breaks this easily, chances are your tree isn't in very good shape. In Little Rock, Josh Rosenthal, Fox 16 News.
Pulaski County crews cleaning up before Isaac gets here. Crews are flushing out ditches and culverts, so if there is a lot of rain, all the water will have somewhere to go.
We've got like 600 square miles of the county, and it's hard to get through all of it, but you know, we're doing the best we can what time we've got.
Well, Danny Case tells us at this time of year, the crews are usually working on asphalt and mowing, but they had to put those jobs down, at least for now. And we want to keep you updated on the weather no matter where you live. So don't forget to go to fox16.com and sign up for weather or breaking news alerts. And you can download the Fox 16 app for your iPhone or Android phone. And there's also a slideshow of Isaac. Just click on the Isaac story on the homepage.
Madam Secretary, the Garden State, the proud home of tonight's keynote address given by Governor Chris Christie, proudly casts all 50 of its votes for the next president of the United States, Governor Mitt Romney.
And with that, Mitt Romney officially becomes the Republican nominee for President of the United States. The delegation from New Jersey, as you just heard, putting Romney over the top with the needed 1,144 votes. And right now, you are looking at a live picture from the Republican National Convention in Tampa. South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley just wrapping up her speech tonight. Now, things did get off to a late start because of Hurricane Isaac, but the convention now back on track and in full swing. Scheduled to speak later tonight, Ann Romney and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie.
And this afternoon, Arkansas Congressman Tim Griffin spoke to the crowd at the RNC. The theme of his speech, we need to do better. Griffin says with the problems facing the country, it's time for a change.
But I don't want us to waste this opportunity. We have an opportunity to replace small, rudderless confusion with bold, purposeful leadership. Let's do better.
And to see the full text of Griffin's speech, you can go to our website, fox16.com.
New at 9, the Pulaski County Quorum Court voted to hire 12 new detention officers to staff the Pulaski County Jail, opening up 80 new beds. Fox 16's Kelly Dudzik explains how this could make our streets safer.
Pulaski County desperately needs new jail beds. Today, it's 27 inmates over capacity. Tonight, the Quorum Court voted to hire new detention officers to open up 80 new beds. Closed right now, this building will eventually hold more than the 80 inmates approved tonight. The sheriff tells us that means criminals given probation because of overcrowding could soon face a different fate.
As those people are arrested, those kinds of people that might not be staying now would be able to stay in the future.
Later this week, bunk beds will fill the sides of the main rooms with picnic tables in the middle so inmates can eat where they sleep. The new jail even has 8 new visitors areas, and right now I'm on the side where the prisoner would sit. The rest of the beds in this building opening up depends on Pulaski County's cities funding the salaries of more officers.
We're always going to try to keep the burglars, the serious felons, we're going to keep those people incarcerated.
But at some point, the sheriff says the county will have to stop adding beds.
We're not in a position to build ourselves out of the problem. We just don't have the money in this county, and that's not the purpose of our increase in bed space.
The new beds will be ready by the end of the week. The new officers start training next month. Live in Little Rock, Kelly Dudzik, Fox 16 News.
Kelly, I think most people would agree this is a good thing, but of course it all comes at a cost. So how do the cities actually figure out how much money they're going to be budgeting for the jail?
Kevin, Judge Buddy Valines will sit down with all of the mayors, talk to them. The sheriff told me he is very confident that the cities will pony up the money. By the way, it'll cost $160,000 for the county to pay for all these salaries for the 12 new officers through the end of the year.
Kelly Dudzik live in front of the Pulaski County Jail. Thanks.
Well, 4 dog attacks in just 3 days. New at 9:30, why some people in Garland County say certain kinds of dogs just aren't welcome.
And the Republican National Convention continues this evening. Everyone preparing for tonight's primetime speakers, including Mitt Romney's wife. We have live continuing coverage tonight from the RNC in Tampa.
And Hurricane Isaac is slowly moving inland. This is a live picture here from Lakeshore, Mississippi. Next at 9, we're going to have a live update from the Gulf Coast. And Chief Meteorologist Jeff Baskin is going to be here to tell us what Isaac could have in store for us.
You're watching Fox 16 News at 9 with Donna Terrell, Kevin Kelly, sports with David Rath, and Arkansas's certified most accurate forecast with Chief Meteorologist Jeff Baskin. This is Fox 16 News at 9.